My name is Ajuan Mance, and I am an Oakland-based artist. I work out of my home and I create acrylic paintings, digital collage. I particularly work in ink on paper. I do illustrated books, and I do comics. My first memory of art is very close to my first memory. I've been an artist for as long as I've been a Black person, is what I always say. I won my first art contest when I was in kindergarten, and so that's the first salient memory for a self portrait. I give my family a lot of credit for my experience as an artist and for being able to achieve some of the things that I've done today. My parents always took art as seriously as I did, and I took it very seriously. They bought my supplies, they took me to museums from a very early age. My creative process as an artist starts with narrowing down my possible subject matter. I am very interested in African American identity, African American kind of intersections with gender, class, and power. And so I think about the kinds of questions I want to ask and what I want to explore. A lot of my work begins with research into a particular place or time that was important to me, say South Carolina and its history of kind of conjuring and bottle trees. Then I'll research that and I'll kind of envision a particular figure who embodies that history for me. I've been relatively fortunate, perhaps because I began to develop a serious art practice relatively late in life, when I was about 32, 33. I have more projects that I want to do than I have time to do them. And so I generally, my biggest issue, and it almost feels like a creative block sometimes, is that I have too many things I want to make and I can't decide what to do next. And so I usually exhale, write down a list of the projects that I really feel are important and urgent, and I decide which one I'm going to move forward on completing. I am originally from the East Coast. I was born in Florida, Daytona, raised in the New York area. Most of my childhood, I lived on Long Island in New York, and went to high school and college in the Northeast as well. I came out to California in 1999 to take a job as an English professor at Mills College, and partly that's what's kept me here, but also Oakland's an amazing place. The arts community here is incredible. It's wonderful. It sustains me. It's given me a sense of belonging, and I really love it out here. I think my favorite memory of East Oakland might be an event I attended at Allen Temple Arms in the downstairs social room and conference room. It was sponsored by the National Council of Negro Women, which I learned has the largest West Coast chapter right here in Oakland. I was invited to speak, but the best part of it was just to walk into a room full of all these amazing African American women elders of East Oakland dressed to the nines. And at a certain point, they had a hat procession where they all stood up in their amazing outfits and beautiful hats and paraded around through the room. And what was so wonderful about that is it was almost all just National Council of Negro Women there, and they were doing it for each other. They were just admiring each other and showing up to be admired by their friends and colleagues. And that to me, in some ways, was what East Oakland is all about. Being part of the African diaspora is being part of one of the oldest cultural and ethnic groups on the planet. Those of us who are in the United States, at the very longest, have been away from home for 400 years and created a new home. It's a proud thing for me to be a part of and to wear on my body um, my ancestry in that way. I think of Africa as the place where all things began, including art and creativity, and I'm I feel like it's a gift to be a part of that diaspora. I wanted to just, share a little bit about some of the things that I feel bring my work together, because the pieces I have in the show are all very different, but in some ways there's a through line. And for me, the through line is about what it means to be an artist in community. And I really do feel that I experience myself as an artist that's really anchored in the Oakland community, East Oakland community, and also in the African American community um, across the country, our larger Black art community. And that for me is as a person who records and chronicles how we are, how we live, what our past was, how we are in our present, but also who is, and part of my job is to imagine Black futures and what that could mean. Being an artist in community for me also then means to just report who I see, to create images of African American people of all types. I'm not interested in advancing a particular way of being Black. I'm just really interested in meeting the diverse members of our community where they are, where we are at any given moment, with lots of love and without judgment. I really use my work to push back against the number of a right way to look or a right way to be as a Black person, and just kind of love Blackness, as Bell Hooks said. I want this to be kind of an active love of Blackness as political resistance.